Hey everybody, Jim from Small Town Traditions here. Just got finished putting a little bit of gas in the car and dropping off some packages from yesterday. We did the release for the Outlaw, which was part of the Black Val project that we did with Bain Blends, and it was a great project. I learned a lot. Not just from a maker standpoint, but also from, a better perspective of what the consumer wants. This was more than just, put together a scent profile. This was, Dino and Chief trying to get companies to come together and actually collaborate and work on things together. And it was neat. It was a cool experience. I learned a lot. I learned, especially, the importance of having, a label that's not just pretty. Because, I know we started putting a lot of work into the artwork on our labels, but the actual functionality of a label, if you notice the Black Val labels, they're totally laid out differently than our current labels, which more than likely are probably going to take on the label configuration of Black Val, because you can just read everything better on them. Just being honest, it's important that the consumer can read what's in that bottle as far as the carrier blend, and also, what the scent profile is. I mean, that stuff's important. That bottle should be more than just something that's pretty to look at. It has to function too. So, I learned a lot with that project. I appreciate, Dino and, Chief and Jay, putting that together. It was fun getting a chance to work with, Jacob Bain. There were some other companies that, they helped out. And it was a pretty neat experience overall. I want to say thank you to the reviewers that did the reviews. It was fun. It really was a fun experience. It's something where I took away some knowledge and some insight that I think, will make us better as a company. One of the big thing is, actually listening to what the consumer wants. So, it was a pretty neat experience. But the response to the Outlaw has been phenomenal. I'll just leave it at that. It was phenomenal. I did not expect, the influx of orders that we had with it. I'm so thankful for it. Y'all really blessed us. It is a limited run, I will say that, but it was amazing. We do have some left, if anyone is interested. It was more than just a one-day release. We do have some more, but I just wanted to say thank you to the community for how they received this project. Black Val 2.0. It was I think that there was a very positive spin that was put on this version of it, this chapter in that. I don't know what'll happen to any future ventures of that, if any, but I do know that 2.0 was a pretty neat experience, and it's something that I'll always remember. And it was neat. It really was. But anyways, I just wanted to jump on here real quick and, once again, wish everyone happy Tuesday. Remember, it's Tobacco Tuesday, so hopefully you wore your tobacco. I don't know if y'all saw the post that I put out, but boy, Jim is heavy on the tobacco today. We got the Collective, we got the infused oil, we've got Georgia Smoke Cologne, we've got Santa's Reserve butter on. Today was nice. It was over the top tobacco. But it was fun. That's another thing I like about this community. There's, you have Dan C and them. They do the monochrome Monday. Everyone does the black and white pictures. Then you have Tobacco Tuesday. And then another group started another black and white Wednesday, which I think is cool. I love black and white pictures. Then you have Throwback Thursday. There's a lot of cool things that you see on the Throwback Thursday photos. And then I don't know what we do on Friday other than thank God it's Friday. But it's fun. It really is. I love this community. I know I've said it before. Feel blessed to be part of it. Especially as a company owner. We've got 2 years rolling around next month. We got something special that we're going to do. Obviously we're going to have a nice sale, but we've got something that we're going to release that is pretty neat. Something that we've been working really hard on. So I think that y'all are going to like it. But I don't know. This community is something else. We got excellent people in the community. We have phenomenal content reviewers. Just the company owners in general. Just everyone helping each other out. I talked to a couple owners today, just messaging back and forth, and it was just neat. We just talked about making products. We talked about our families. It's a cool thing to have friends like this. I get to meet some of them in August in Jasper, Georgia. So if you have a chance and you are in the area, come by. There's going to be a lot of really cool companies down there. And I know Rugged Ron is going to be there. We're going to be there. Jacob Bain's going to be there. And I know there's a couple more. Y'all forgive me if I don't remember their names. I didn't shout you out. Forgive me for that. But it'll be cool getting an opportunity to see everyone. I think Mike Ramsey's going to be there for sure. Bishop, I think, is going to be there. Empty Nest Grooming. Empty Nest is going to be there. Mr. Mike Nash. It's just, gosh, it's going to be such a cool time just to be able to actually, put some, actual faces with these, people that I talk to online. I've only met one person that I talked to online. That was Mike Riley, and that was cool. That was really cool. So really looking forward to it. But I just wanted to jump on here and say thank you. Wish everyone a good day. Now it's going to be a good night. So I reckon I will talk to y'all tomorrow. But y'all have a good evening. Jim signing off. Peace.